The Atlanta Falcons will probably lose a pivotal player on their roster, and in this video, I'm going to break down why it may not be as bad as it seems. And no, I'm not talking about Kirk Cousins. I'm not talking about Kyle Pitts. I'm not talking about Jesse Bates. I'm talking about Drew Dalman. For those Atlanta Falcon fans who don't know who Drew Dalman is, he was the starting center for the Atlanta Falcons, but in this offseason, he's getting a lot of interest. A lot of interest to the point where most experts believe that he will get $20 million per year next year. Now, that's a number that puts him at probably one of the highest paid centers in the league, up there with Creed Humphreys. But that is a number that a lot of people say the Atlanta Falcons probably won't pay and should not pay. And if I'm talking to the Atlanta Falcons, which I'm kind of right now, if you're listening, do not pay Drew Dalman $20 million. Now, he's a great player, and I'm not hating on Drew Dalman. I think he's a phenomenal player. But the Atlanta Falcons need to worry about the Atlanta Falcons and worry about building this team, and that starts with defense. Their defense was lackluster at best. And they need to take this money and invest in the defense, which would include not re-signing Drew Dalman. Like I said, Drew Dalman was a great player, and I'm going to read you some statistics basically to show how good of a player he was. So last year, he had an 82.4 blocker rating, which put him at 5th. The year before, he had a 90.9, which put him at 2nd of all centers in the league. But here's the kicker. Drew Dalman, unfortunately, is undersized. And the fact that the Atlanta Falcons ran an outside zone scheme, it worked to Drew Dalman's benefit. Drew Dalman is smaller, but he is more athletic. Therefore, if you run more plays that go outside, you can utilize Drew Dalman's athletic ability, and he can get on blocks easier, which therefore helps the run game. As we see now, I think the Atlanta Falcons will continue to use outside zone in their run scheme, but we can see Michael Penix can throw the football. So we may see more of a pass-first offense, but also maybe outside zone, but maybe some inside zone. Who knows? The skill sets of Drew Dalman may not be there because the Atlanta Falcons may be a pass-first football team. Therefore, paying Drew Dalman $20 million for a scheme-type fit that may not be the primary run function in your scheme is not worth it. Also, I want to put out there, Drew Dalman was injured last year. There's a guy named Ryan Neusel, his backup. To be honest, when it comes to pass protecting, Ryan Neusel is not that much more terrible than Drew Dalman. He is not the run blocker as Drew Dalman is. I'm not saying that. But from a pass perspective, pass set perspective, they are very similar. And like I just mentioned, Michael Penix Jr. in the Atlanta Falcons offense will be pass first. You got a guy who can throw the ball on a rope, and you got 4 potential game-changing receivers. You got Drake London, you got Darnell Mooney, you got Ray-Ray McCloud, who's good, and you got Bijan Robinson out the backfield. Michael Penix has options, and he's going to be throwing the ball, and Drew Dalman may not be needed as much in the outside zone run game. And for the Atlanta Falcons to take $20 million and pay him for something that they may not be going to do in the future, it's just a waste of money. I say, sign Ryan Neusel for a cheaper deal, and then from there, invest that money on the defensive end. You will be so much more happier from an Atlanta Falcons perspective if you spend that money on the defense. You take that last place defense and you bump it up maybe 10 positions, even to like 22. That will take this team from barely being out of the playoffs to barely being in the playoffs. You add some more draft picks, and who knows from there. But Drew Dalman is probably not going to be Atlanta Falcons though anymore after this season, and that's fine. But if you agree or disagree with what I say, leave a comment down below. Let me know how you feel about Drew Dalman and paying him $20 million a year. I'm not in for it, but you might. Leave a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, check this one out right here. And like always, peace.